Okay, you're live.
Okay. Hello and welcome, everybody. This is Julie Nelson. I am one of the tribe hosts of Sacred You, and I run the Bewitching Tribe on a Friday at 12:30 to 1:30 AEST or Sydney time. It never changes. And we talk about astrology, magic, aromatherapy, perfumery. Sometimes we do moon magic. Sometimes we do artwork. So if that sounds inviting to you, I would love to have you come and join us. And in a moment, I'm going to get everybody to introduce themselves. Actually, I'll do that first and then introduce our conversation for today. And just checking that. There we go. So let me introduce you all, or you introduce yourselves. So Anne, please share with our audience.
Hi, my name is Anne Barratt, and my business is called Empowering Health, and I'm a holistic health practitioner. I'm qualified in a great variety of modalities, but I primarily practice kinesiology and bioresonance therapy, and then incorporate hypnotherapy speak as well as counseling, which I'm also qualified in, and Reiki. So yeah, I work with people to help find the underlying contributing factors to their symptoms. And because like kinesiology is one of the few modalities that actually helps to look at a person as a whole, not just their mind, not just their physical, and not just their biochemical aspects, but look at how one thing may be contributing to another. So even like with our mental health things that we're going to be talking about today, sometimes it's not just all in the mind. Sometimes there are underlying things that may be contributing to that.
Thank you. That's fabulous. And just remember for everybody that all links to all of the speakers will be in the conversations in the comments section below. And we also have a guest, Mary, hanging out with us today. Claudia.
Hi, Julie, and thank you for having me here this morning in South African time, or possible.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
I just want to say hi to the viewers out there, the Sacred You community, and thank you for having me. My name is Claudia, and as I said, I'm from Johannesburg, South Africa, and my company is called Nourish, and it's also in the holistic healing space. But I help people with stress, fatigue, overwhelm, and burnout. And it's through the coaching that we do processes and work through managing the stress, regards to my three main pillars: nutrition, food is fuel, and I believe sleep is a superpower. Sleep is life, and creating calm. And by this, I mean being more mindful of what we do, how we be in our lives. And not only that, but paying attention to our limiting beliefs that also get in the way and impact our stress, that contribute to this stress. So working through those three pillars are my main things during the coaching process.
Beautiful. Thank you, Claudia. And both you and Olga, thank you so much for coming on and getting up so early. It's amazing. Really, really appreciate it. Olga, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Olga. I'm holistic counselor and psychotherapist. I specialize in anxiety and I focus on mind-body interconnection in regards to how each influence each other. So yeah, and one of my ways of working in therapy is about integrating bottom up and top-down processes, which is about mind-body interconnection, really. So, and yes, I'm Kundalini yoga teacher as well.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I'm looking forward to this topic, and we have an audience, a live audience person with us on video. And what I just wanted to say is welcome, Mary. And if by any chance you happen to have any questions, just keep them in mind and we can answer them at the end. And I'm hoping that we will have a few minutes for some Q&A time as well. So our topic today, because I work with women a lot, so I tend to, well, all the time. I've had the odd male client for perfumery, but mostly I work with women. So I love having conversations and discussions around women's health and women rising unapologetically in their divine feminine essence. And with these conversations, we're here to ignite and excite you and also encourage you. So let's get on with this topic, women's self-care and personal development. And you would have heard how all of us, like everything that we do, can be brought in so easily to teach women, to work with women, to lead them into where they're desiring to go. And in our world today, mental health is a very, very big issue. And I would like for us to discuss, we have some questions on how we can have some self-care management at home, even if you're seeing a therapist or practitioner, what you can do in between, and how you can access support, because everywhere there is support, like right in front of you, there is a group of women here. And to empower yourselves, like really truly tapping into your own essence, your own magic, your own source, because we have it all. It's about that being ignited. So on that note, let's go through the first question here, and I'll just pick the ladies out popcorn style. And the first question is, thank you. Okay, I will do, Mary, as well. Fabulous. And that we'll put that in the comments. So our first question is, what do you recommend for women to connect, network, and collaborate professionally and personally, enabling them to share experiences, resources, and opportunities? It's a bit of a long-winded question, but I think you get, just pull it into what resonates with you. Olga, would you like to share first without putting you on the spot?
I think it's important for people to realize more about themselves and what suits them most, because obviously some of us are introverts and some of us are extroverts. So some people would prefer group sessions and some people would prefer individual sessions. So that goes the same for therapy as it is for other group networks. So whatever makes people feel comfortable. Otherwise, it might become draining and it's not going to serve the purpose. So the most important thing about self-care in general is about being kind to ourselves and self-compassionate. So when we do things, we do it with love towards ourselves rather than because we have to. So that's why it's important to know whatever works for us. So that's why professionally, it's important to know what is your network, what you're going to benefit from connecting with whatever professionals you want. yes, so yeah, it's just making the learning process comfortable, isn't it, and long lasting, because self-care is about long lasting, lifetime kind of journey. So we need to make ourselves comfortable so we can enjoy. That's for me.
Absolutely. Thank you, Olga. Claudia, what do you have to share?
I agree with everything Olga has mentioned. So whatever resonates with you, whatever you are passionate about, or whatever you're feeling, whether it's joining a network, a social media group, this platform, the Sacred You, is one of many platforms, online platforms, but also look at your community. What would you like to be a part of? Do you want to maybe volunteer somewhere and give up, your time? I always think, like, if you can do something like that, be there for somebody, maybe at a women's shelter, listen to what they have to say. They just want somebody to, like, hear them out and hold that space for them. So you're not only being of service, but you're also helping, and also helping yourself in a sense. So I think there is a lot. Our world is small with the internet, but also look at volunteering, look at your community. What would you like to be a part of? How would you like to give and serve? And where would you like to learn from as well? I think you've got to take into consideration. And as Olga said, the self-care, think of that, keep that in mind. And not a have to, but a want to. And that you get to do this, what you want to do. Being part of a group, depending on your personality, as Olga mentioned, or if it's just a one-on-one. But connecting with people that you resonate with, I think, is important, and that you look up to.
Yeah. Lovely. Thank you, Claudia. I have a few things to add to that, but we'll speak to Anne first.
Thank you. And I think with connections, it's really important to find out what way you like to connect as well, like social media and online, like this type of community. For me personally, it's like I feel removed in a sense. So I prefer to be in person because that works for me. But then also, it's also, as we spoke about, or Olga and Claudia have mentioned, do what resonates with you. And with that, it's really important to come back into your heart space and what it is that makes your heart sing. Like, because what brings you joy will then resonate out, but then you'll also attract other people into your life and your circle that also have the similar interests. So rather than going necessarily to a professional group, which would be the most obvious thing, but we may not feel comfortable in that space to start with. So to ease your way into different communities could be just to follow a hobby. So like even doing a local art class. I go to what's called a box and burn class, but the people there are like, they're just so welcoming, and it's a really great way for me to get out any negative energy, and we all talk and we dance as well as doing the boxing. So it's like doing what brings you joy will then get you out there connecting with others. And even though they're not there to talk about business, you still learn and grow with each other because you listen to each other's stories and you can still ask them questions. And so that's another way that I like to connect, is in a way of finding other like-minded people that I do resonate with.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love that. And if I may share too, I like a balance. I live on my own, so I love the internet world. And because most of my business is online, I get to connect with a lot of people. And Facebook I love because you can have instant interaction. However, I love face-to-face as well, and I take action. Like I go to 3 dance classes a week, and we have so much fun. They're belly dance classes, and we get cheeky, we get naughty, we laugh, we're serious, we do beautiful, sexy routines that help us tap into our divine feminine essence. So it's really beautiful. So balance is really important. Having a clear intention about what it is that you're desiring and how you can bring self-care rituals and practices into your daily life, and small steps at a time, depending on whether you're an extrovert or an introvert or a combination of both. You like to be with groups or be on your own. And things, I personally find anything that's creative, and people often think, oh, I'm not creative, I can't draw. You don't have to draw, but I'm an artist. But cooking, being in the garden, walking in nature, because connecting with ourself is so important, and that's a part of the healing and the self-love, which is self-love care practices are important. And just on another note, and Claudia mentioned this too, looking for community services. So up here where we are, and they're all around, there's many of them, we have this amazing women's health community centre in Katoomba, where they give a lot of support to women of all demographics, and they do work a lot with women with that have been abused, and also homelessness and things like that. And these are things that we need to look at, because right now globally, homelessness, depression, stress, anxiety is massive. And so this is where this self-care comes into place, and it has to come from you first, to acknowledge that you need help and then take the action to receive it in whatever level or layer that is. So thank you, beautiful women. Our second question, boy, time goes fast. And perhaps you can talk about your own self-care rituals and practices. What self-care, self-love rituals and practices do you recommend for a personal development among women to foster that resilience and confidence? And just before we go on, I think it's life challenges help to create that resilience within us, and some of us are born with this and some of us are not. But I also want to say, through my own personal experience, that having to be resilient all the time is tiring, and you don't have to do everything on your own. So let's share some self-love, self-care rituals. And I think self-love is the key to all healing and health and thriving in life. So Anne, would you like?
I get to start. Thank you. So, well, things that I do for myself is one, I actually work on myself as well as a primary. So anytime that I'm starting to feel anxious, overwhelmed, and feeling like I'm having to do everything myself, it's like I do a balance for myself. Next is then I'd ask somebody else and maybe do an exchange with somebody, but not everybody has the ability to do that either, because not everybody watching, I'm sure, are practitioners themselves. So other simple ways is simply to have like a lovely nurturing bath for yourself and making that a nice ritual, putting in your essential oils, lighting a candle, having music playing, and I turn the lights off as well, and use that as a process of meditation as well, but being mindful not to fall asleep while you're in the bath. Then also another thing I do regularly is use YouTube as a great resource. There are so many free things on there. It's just amazing. And it's helped me through my darkest times. And it doesn't cost you anything. So I know money is really tight for a lot of people, and they say they don't have the money to care for themselves. But there are so many things that you can do that don't cost anything. And yeah, one of those is listening to guided meditations or affirmations that are on YouTube, and literally doing a search for the subject that you're struggling with at that moment. And what else? There's so many things.
So many things.
Yeah. You could go out for a walk in nature. Grounding is really important, especially when we're feeling anxious. I always explain that the body is like the trunk of a tree, and it's human nature to want to improve ourselves and grow towards the light just as a tree does. But unless our root system, our grounding system is as deep and as wide as we want to grow tall, it's just going to topple over and the physical self starts to struggle. And also sometimes that's where the anxiety comes from as well, when we're disconnected from being grounded. Just as an electrical plug needs 3 points, the bottom one is the grounding one. We need to be grounded, and people forget how to do that too, because that's the old way. When we didn't wear sneakers or rubber soles, there's a great documentary on YouTube called the Earthing movie, and they say that the invention of the rubber sole was like humanity's worst invention, because it disconnected us from the human's resonance, from Mother Gaia and nature. So being mindful, take your shoes off.
Yes. And there's nothing, I mean, I don't have anywhere I live because I'm in a complex now. But one of the things I love to do, and I would often do, is just take my shoes off and just go. I love standing in soft grass and wiggling my toes. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank
Well,
you.
it's enough to imagine it, because the mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. So just imagine that you've got an extensive root system growing out of your feet deep into the earth.
Absolutely. And I have a beautiful visualization that I share with clients, take them through all my groups, because it's about becoming the tree. So it's so beautiful. Olga, would you like to share, say, 2 or 3 tips or rituals or practices?
Maybe what I will say is good to consider things on different levels. So self-care can be on different levels. So it can be on physical, like Claudia mentioned, nutrition, sleep, and I would add there our nervous system, because if our nervous system is out of balance, everything else suffers. Then I would mention spiritual. It doesn't necessarily mean anything to do with religion. It could be just doing with the universe or Mother Nature. Psychological, which would be cognitive and emotional. Professional, if people are still working, or educational, if people are studying. So yeah, those are the main levels that we need to look at, and social as well. Whether it is just the family, friends, or something wider. It depends what people need, isn't it, based on their personalities, likes and dislikes. So those are the levels that I want to mention. And of course, within each level, there are so many different things that we can do. But I thought it was important to mention that. So yeah.
I love that. I love that. And I'm going to invite you to put those levels into the comments when this video is uploaded, or it's live now, but because I think they're really important, that we know all of this. And because we work and practice naturally daily, we forget to come back to the basics and start from the stepping stones. So thank you, Olga. That's really important to bring those different layers in. Claudia.
Okay, so to add on to what Olga mentioned and Anne, I think journaling is a big thing. And I have a journal and a diary. And the diary is what I'm doing for the week. The journal is my thoughts, feelings, and I carry that around with me, because sitting at a coffee shop, I might have ideas regarding work or something. I jot it in there. And what I've noticed is how we waste time. And we can be time wasters without realizing it. And before you know it, we're on our phones. We don't realize that we were on the social media for an hour. And I read somewhere that we should actually carve time in our day. I'm only going to spend so much time. And it's impossible if you are always working with your phone. But sometimes we look at one notification and another, and before we know it, we're on our phones for 3 hours. And it's not necessarily anything productive. So I think these rituals that people have mentioned, we got to take them seriously. And also note how much time we're spending on our phones, just in stillness. I think being consistent with these rituals, I think, is important. I think sleep for me is a big factor. I think it contributes self-love, self-care. It's a immune booster. It uplifts our mood so we can actually function. If you think about it, if you haven't had enough sleep, your day is a bit haphazard. You can't think straight, you're moody, and that affects everything in your day. You tend to eat more. So I think, like, I hold big emphasis, and I said earlier that sleep is a superpower. I think it's so important. Make time for absolute stillness. So whether being at, in nature or just zoning out, not getting that screen stimulation. We don't realize it. I've tried to be more mindful of how I use my time, and that's why I say I've got a diary and a journal. And maybe people out there should try it and see what's happening in their day. I think also setting the intention for the day, waking up, making your cup of tea, create a sacred space, and just looking out into the garden, instead of the phone, because I've noticed, just also by observing people that are sitting by themselves, having a coffee or having lunch, they're looking at their phones, and it's not really being mindful. And I think we need to pay attention to being mindful of what we're drinking. How does it taste? Or what we're eating, enjoying the food, instead of looking at that outside stimulus all the time.
Yes, I agree. That's beautiful. Yeah. Thank you. And really important. And I know sleep is a big, big, big one. And I know that because I have insomnia, that a habit was created from having my daughter, and she was born with 2 life-threatening conditions. So we lived 50% of her life in hospital, and then giving medications every 2 hours. And I've been working for years to shift that. And I have my own way. Sometimes I just sleep through the day, and that's okay because it revitalizes me. And also too, like we all have different patterns, don't we? I'm not a 9 to 5 girl, never have been in my life. I used to live next door to a school, and my mother used to drag me out of bed and go, I can't believe it, Julie, you're late every day. I'd hear the bell and run because, one, I never wanted to go there, but, it's like, that was just going off a tangent. I want to share a couple of rituals, and I agree with everything that has been shared. There are so many that we can tap into. So first of all, what brings you joy, and that it's very important for us to take responsibility for ourselves. Nobody else can do it for you. We can have therapists and practitioners that will give us the tools and support us, and that's beautiful. But we want to keep those things up. And I think, Claudia, you said consistency, absolutely. And having a clear intention. I'm very big on intentions and rituals, and I counted once how many rituals I do a day, and I was quite surprised because I'm so used to doing it. They're all a part of my day. One of the most beautiful for me and pleasurable, and only takes a minute, is using your perfume. And I'm a clinical aromatherapist of 30 years, and I'm a botanical perfumer. So I'm only talking about natural perfumes because the others actually harm your nervous system and your immune system, and they're hormonal disruptors. So when we're, you know, if you've got even a favorite essential oil that you like, or you have a natural perfume, the thing is, have a clear intention, and it could be as something as simple as today, joy is my experience. And then so you get your oil or your perfume, and you might drop it, put a drop on your wrist, or if you use an atomizer, spray it over the top of you, and then you inhale it. Feel it going through your body and speak your intention. And then you inhale it again. And what that does is it locks it in, it anchors it into your limbic system. And so that every time you smell that particular smell, for as long as you want that intention, it comes to the forefront of your brain. And it literally takes 30 seconds. And if you take notice of how your body responds, you'll find you'll smile because you love the aroma. Your shoulders probably relax and drop down. And essential oils are very, very well known for strengthening the nervous system, strengthening the immune system. And they are very much used for sadness, depression, stress, anxiety, because they strengthen your nervous system. That's my big number one. And I've got perfumes all around the place because I make my own. So I have them at hand all of the time. And the other one for me, like I have a rose called Jude the Obscure, and it is the most beautiful divine scent. And when it flowers, I cut the flowers and bring them inside. And I can't stop inhaling them because I love the aroma. And I don't even have to have an intention. It makes me feel so amazing. So even picking flowers from your garden or herbs is a beautiful way to a beautiful, simple ritual. And yeah, I love YouTube. I listen to meditations, and I'm a big affirmation girl, and I use them daily. And I started using them 35 years ago when I had my daughter, and they helped me to turn my life around. So thank you, everybody. Some amazing tips there. And our last question, and this is really important for me. It's about celebrating and acknowledging ourselves. So how important is it to you to acknowledge and celebrate your achievements, your successes? And how might you do that? Which I forgot to put in the question. So, Claudia.
I think it's important to acknowledge and celebrate your achievements, your contributions and successes, because you are seeing yourself. I see you. We always acknowledge people and happy for them, but what about being happy for yourself? And I think it's important because it also boosts resilience, confidence, self-esteem, validates that you're on the right path, that this is for you, especially if you're enjoying it. And how can be from the most smallest thing, you know, taking yourself on a date or a coffee date, be it a spa date, or spending time in nature, or something, doing a new course or something, you know, I think anything that makes you happy, you know, you don't have to go spend money and have lavish dinners unless you want to. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. That's also another way of celebrating. But in your own way, whatever you're content with, and be it at home with family, a dinner, or just maybe trying out a new yoga class that you've always wanted to. And I thought, you know, let me go spoil myself with this yoga. So I think it really depends on the person and what they like and what they enjoy. But I think it is important to acknowledge yourself for your hard work, for your perseverance, and it validates you, you know, validating yourself. I think it's important. We always do it for others, but we never think of ourselves.
Yeah, it's very, very important. Can I just say too, for me, sometimes what I do is just have a little happy dance at home and go,
Exactly.
and that in itself feels really good, you know. And then I might,
Yes.
you know, message my daughter and she'll say, "Yay, Mum, well done," or "Cool," you know. So it's just like, yeah, I just love it. Happy dance is good. And an
I
example.
agree.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I love to dance too, and I get loud. And so for me, one of my celebrations to some success earlier in the year was I focused on my health and well-being, my mental health and well-being, by adding another dance class. So I was doing 2. Now I'm doing 3. And I'm thinking, I want to dance every day, but, you know, so maybe like that's what that's what I'm working towards, or at least 4 or 5 times a week. So that's a big celebration for me. And I do like to spoil myself with my favorite vegan chocolate, Panna chocolate. Yes. And unmute, lovely.
Great. Thank you for that. Yeah, coming back to importance of celebrating ourselves, because a lot of people have the tendency to focus on, you know, what they haven't done yet, what they haven't achieved, all the long list of to-do things that they're yet to be done, and wondering how they're going to get through that. But they often then forget all those lovely things that they actually have done, and how much they have already achieved, and how much they already have done. And, you know, by reflecting on that, it's a way of remembering and recalling like how awesome you really already are. And like I do that in a few ways, because I still also have to remind myself, especially when you're working in business as a sole trader, I wear many hats, do all my own admin as well. And so just as Claudia suggested, like keeping a diary of what you're doing for the week, my diary is simply a piece of scrap paper I fold into 8, and then do Monday to Sunday plus another column to then plan out my week. But then I keep them all. And then, you know, certain times of the year, I'll actually reflect back through those pages and go, yeah, I forgot I did that. I forgot I did that. I forgot I did that. And then some of them are like, you know, every week builds up to a big project. And it's like, wow, I did achieve that. I got that done in, you know, the time that I'd hoped to, but hadn't even remembered or recalled, because it was done in those small steps to get to the end of a big project. So it's really important for our value. Entering awards, like if you're in business for yourself, even if it's not for nothing else, like entering some type of like local community award, council award for businesses or women in business. Different women's communities also have awards for, you know, contribution and what you do for the community and for others. And just the process of answering the questions gets you to also reflect. There's a way of forcing you to do it. It's just like, you know, when you're doing self-care and finding what works for you and how you're going to make that time, because a lot of people I find don't make that time even to reflect on what they have achieved. It's like write it in your diary or connect with a buddy who's going to help keep you accountable to that. Or enter an award, like do something official, but it forces you to then reflect on your year just gone as well and see how far you really have come.
I love that. And reflection, just as a tip for anybody, when we're in dark moon, just before new moon, is a very powerful time for us to go into reflection and be in stillness. It's like the winter month of the moon phase, and it's a really beautiful time just to go in. It's in that shadow aspect. So yeah, Olga.
Well, if I may, I will do as quickly as I can to break this question into two parts. So the first one will be about myself, and second one will be about my practice. So the first one will be celebrating my achievements and contributions and successes, because they're not just mine personally. I share them with my family and my ancestors and my heritage, because I feel very blessed by having that in my life and being blessed for that. We will have it in our lives, but yeah, I feel blessed for that. So I do say thank you to the universe for that. And my professional work with the clients, because I work with trauma a lot. So in order to, when we work with trauma, there is a lot of focus on negativity and difficulties that we have to overcome in life. So it's good to remember our strengths, our positives, our abilities, our skills, and those are the things that we consider in psychotherapy as resources that help us to start working on trauma. So it's kind of foundations. We need to be aware of those ones and embody them. So that's one aspect of the practice. And the other one is, in my practice, I do regular reviews with clients. And during those reviews, we make sure that we're on the right path. And like every 6 sessions or so, we look at what we achieved and what has been positive, really. So we celebrate it throughout. So, and that makes people more engaged and more willing to work further. And yeah, they feel more empowered throughout that process. That's all.
Love that. And that self-empowerment, it's so important, because we want to strive to be always coming from a self-empowered place rather than disempowered. And that can be a challenge sometimes as well. That was fantastic, because I love that we got through that by now, because we can see if Mary has any questions, or if there's anything else that you would like to add, and then we'll leave 5 minutes to wrap up this conversation. I love it. And remember, for anybody that's listening, that you can connect in with any of these gorgeous women, including myself, through our links in the comments section. Mary, I just wanted to see if you had any questions or any comments that you would like to share with our audience. I don't want to put you on the spot. You most certainly don't have to.
Well, looking at the questions that you posted, number 3, it is so important for me to acknowledge and celebrate that I am here. I'm 75. I survived 2 heart attacks. I survived 6 hours of major surgery. I'm still here. I've won awards. I've done things, and I need to remind myself that those accomplishments and achievements, and that I do contribute in every way I can ever think of to others. And maybe that's why I'm still here at 75.
Yes, and you're still young, Mary, and thank you for sharing that, because sometimes we forget, and I'm in my mid-60s, and I keep thinking my body is aging, but my mind is not. In fact, I feel like I'm reversing sometimes because it's about really tapping into the joy and the fun of life and who we are. We're magnificent beings. And so much of ourselves has been lost. Claudia mentioned about how people, when they go out to lunch and they're focused on looking at their mobile phones. When I go out, I actually leave my phone in my bag unless my daughter is unwell and I'm on call. And I have this thing that I love to do, and it's when I'm walking down the street, I love to look at people to engage, and I smile. And when you get, some people sort of don't know what to do and will look away. And others, when you get that return smile, it's so beautiful, you know, and you can feel and see them light up. And I light up too. So having that intention to engage with people. And yes, Mary, I celebrate you and wish you, I have a mantra, I'm going to share it with you. I am going to be a centurion plus dancing on the street because I want to be around for as long as possible to hang out with my daughter, and I love to dance. And life does go by fast, so it's about embracing all of the moments and really acknowledging them and celebrating them. I'm going to open it up. Would anybody else like to share? Anne.
No, you put me on the spot. I was like, what do I want to share? Share that I love to dance as well. And yeah, it just brings me joy. So yeah, celebrating life, celebrating others, and even connecting, like reaching out with a friend to catch up and celebrate them. Celebrate your friendships with people. It doesn't have to be anything like particular and anything people worry, go, oh, but I don't know what to celebrate. It's like, just celebrate life, celebrate that you exist. Keep it simple. That's the easiest way to get over any hurdles or worries about taking those first steps.
And with some self-love, celebrate your hair, or, your voluptuous body, your breasts, your toes, whatever. Celebrate every part of your being and love yourself up is really, really powerful. Olga, Claudia, do you have anything else to share?
Yeah, I think for some people, like, it's so easy to say, celebrate yourself, accept. But it's such a layered thing. Sometimes it's easy to say, but some people actually cannot comprehend it. So it would be nice to do maybe something like, another, it's another way, or another platform, another idea that we could actually have on Sacred You, just going into those layers, unpacking that. And it would probably be a bit intense, but some things we take for granted, and sometimes it's not easy for some people, especially if they've got certain struggles and they can't look past it, or in a bad space. How can we guide them out of that space?
That's what we practitioners and therapists are here for. We can help them to take those first steps.
Absolutely. And it's that first step. It's that first step that counts, I think.
Yeah. And it's like anything, the more we practice it, the easier it gets. And believe it or not, when I was a little girl, I never knew, and I was very quiet, except in my own home. And when I was a young woman, if I went out to a restaurant or a bar, I couldn't walk to the bathroom by myself. I couldn't walk to a bar and buy my own drink. And now it's like, here I am, out of my way. So it's practice makes perfect, and we all have the ability, and we can start with believing ourselves. That was such a good point, Claudia. Thank you for bringing that up. Really appreciate it. Olga, any last words before we wrap up?
Just very briefly, I want to add something that came up for me when I was listening to everyone, but mainly around question 1. You know, if we are thinking about what suits us best in relation, how to connect with others on different levels, professionally and personally. I was just thinking, maybe for people who are not sure where to start and how to pick and choose, maybe they can refer back to their values. Values can help to guide people in the right direction. Yeah, that's all I wanted to add.
Values are so important. I have this little formula because I'm sure we've all done it. So, you know, especially when I was younger, I'd, you know, be someone and think, oh God, I wished I was like that person. And whereas now it's like, I really love who I am. And it's all come through a journey of challenges and learning to love myself. And I have this little formula that I often say on these panel discussions. And it's, first of all, acknowledging and accepting where we are with our self-love, whether it be low or high, wherever it is on the scale, and working with that. Because when we acknowledge that, then we can start working with our self-love. And there's many layers, we know, and there's many things that we can do. So start small. And again, that's why we have so many different therapists and practitioners around the world. And when we have that self-love, we then feel more worthy. We feel more confident or confident. And then we begin to attract, and then we manifest, we become magnetic. And so it's a really nice little formula to process and delve into, and perhaps mind map it out as to how people can dance with that. Yeah. So I want to say thank you to our panelists. I enjoyed this conversation. I really loved all of your sharing, and trust that you all did too, and our audience. And thank you, Mary, for joining us and having some input, because I think that was very valuable. And before we wrap up, I want to mention the Sacred You. So we have a few things. If you haven't looked, then I invite you to go to our website, sacredyou.love, and the links will be again in the comments section below. And check out our tribes and everything that's coming up, and the memberships that we have. And right now we have, well, we always do, an offer for a $1 US to join for 2 weeks. And that gives you 2 weeks to check out any of the tribes that you want to, like you feel drawn to, or you'd like to get involved with. And then after that, we have different packages for you as a member. And there is always somebody that you can check in with. You can email and ask questions. And we also have our wonderful Harmony Fest coming up in September. This is the second one that we've run, and there's virtual stalls. There are readings that will be available. There are master classes also. So check out our Harmony Fest and the packages for that as well, whether you want to be a reader or a stall holder or a facilitator. And also that, or you might want to book in a reading. You might want to buy something from our virtual shop or stall holders, and or listen into a conversation. So remember to go to sacredyou.love And also you'll find a lot of information in our group page and our business page all over the place. And you can contact any of these ladies at any time. Fantastic. Mary's going to be there. And I know that Anne is. I will be as well. I'm not sure about the other ladies. So if you are, just put your hand up and say, me too, me too. And I think that's pretty much it for now. Pretty damn good timing. I love it. And again, thank you everybody for being here, and stay tuned for all of our other panels that are coming up, panel discussions. Check out our tribes. Who's got a tribe here? Anybody else got a tribe? No, only me. Okay, perhaps that's something you ladies would like to look into at another time. And yeah, in the meantime, be magical, love yourself up, and find joy in different moments throughout your day. So that's it from us from Sacred You, and I will